one step from burning it
Hello,
all
everybody. My name is Matt
down.
Barkoff. I am the Sober Cold Bear, and welcome to another edition of the Sober Cold Bear podcast. I'm grateful that you're here, wherever you are in the world, hopefully listening. This, I believe, is episode number 29, and it's getting up there. I've been doing this now for over a year now, this podcast, and super grateful for it. Joining me today is my friend Ross Hopman. We'll get into you in a second, but like I do everything in terms of my spiel at the beginning of this little thing, this little podcast in the corner of the world of where I live, is the Sober Cold Bear podcast is a place to get great content. It's a great place to kind of learn about really wonderful things, whether it's about recovery or about key topics, whether it's business or depression or anxiety or music, or you have a child that's struggling with addiction, and how do you deal with that, and how do you deal with that, and things like that. I cover a number of topics. However, if you are looking to get sober, this is not the place to be. There are ways to do that. You can go to rehab. I always kind of joke around. I should have gone to rehab. Didn't go to rehab, but I did actually start going to AA. I did work a 12-step program. I do go to meetings. I do have a sponsor. I do sponsor others. Service work is a big, big piece of recovery and the ongoing components of recovery. So ask for help. It really is that easy. Just ask for help. Ask a loved one, reach out to me on Instagram, reach out to Ross, talk to your best friend, talk to a coworker. Addiction's a lonely thing, and it's something that we can't do alone. And it is really hard to kind of operate in between our two ears, because we are complex humans, and but hopefully you can ask for help and start working on it. But with that, we will get to the conversation. So Ross, I want you to introduce yourself. But Ross is a fellow friend in recovery. Ross is also a musician, as am I, and we are going to talk today about music and recovery and what that means. Ross is also an artist. He has a brand. Well, maybe brands. Maybe the name of your music band is called Civil Brother, except it's just you. And I'm just going to kind of read this, otherwise I'd look stupid. Civil Brother tries to paint an honest, emotional, and often painful recounting of the hardships of recovery, blanketed in a hopeful warmth of rebuilding. Civil Brothers songs often feature haunting harmonies and candid lyrics that share uncomfortable truths, with the goal of being a soundtrack for anyone seeking a friendly reminder that they aren't alone in grappling with things like loss, change, sadness, grief, and love. And you have a new album that's coming out. Ross, thank you for being here. I'm super grateful. Good to see you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm so excited. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna need a live reenactment of that opening song. I think that's the next step here. Is we're gonna have a little live performance. But
well, I'm gonna use your music for the entrance to the podcast, as opposed to mine. So I hope I can get your verbal, I don't have to pay any licensing fees.
No royalties.
Okay, cool. We've signed a contract.
Yes. My name is Ross Hopman. I put music out under the moniker of Civil Brother. I too am in AA. I am 1 month shy of 3 years.
Amazing.
So my date is March 2nd, 2023.
Awesome.
And I've only got 1 foot in the door of AA. That's something I'm sure we'll get to here. But while I've been in recovery for 3 years, sober for 3 years, I do want to preface that I have not worked the steps yet, or I've started to work the steps. I attend meetings. I'm partially through the steps, but it's something that I'm working on. And yeah.
You know what they say? We're perfectly imperfect, Ross. We have our shortcomings. We all have something that we got to work on. So the fact that you haven't done the steps, honestly, man, most of the people don't. Most of the people actually put them off. And I think sometimes they even get to certain areas of the step, like step 4. A lot of people actually go back out because they just don't want to fucking deal with it, right? Like
Yeah,
step 4 is a hard thing.
I got to step 4. I tried step 4. And then I think I did it wrong. And now
Uh-huh.
it's 5 months later.
Okay. Well,
So
then you're
we'll
at
get
step 4. You're still
yeah,
at step 4. That's good.
yeah. We'll get back to it. We'll get back at it, you know.
All right.
Um yeah. Yeah, but I do. I have an album coming out. It's funny when you read the description back, I was like, wow, that is incredibly specific sounding. Is that how it's how it's written? But it's
What your
funny because
Spotify That's what your Spotify page says.
that's what it's
I don't
yeah.
I'm
Yeah, yeah.
very, very bad at making shit up. I mean, actually, that's actually not true. I'm pretty good at making shit up, but
Yeah,
actually it's pretty easy to catch me in, the bad making shit up stage. I'd much rather read something.
yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. But yeah, no, I mean the album description itself says so much. Um because making music, I don't have to tell you, making music not sober, hard. Making music sober, what a what a challenge, what a different experience. And this is kind of my first dive into doing that after being a musician my whole life, putting music out my whole life, and how woven drugs and alcohol are to the music making process and scene and everything. It's deep. And it's been a very, just different experience doing it kind of from the other side. Um,
Why do you think drugs and alcohol are such a staple of music? I mean, we were talking before this, like
yeah,
we've lost so many incredible artists to addiction, whether it's direct addiction, like, overdose, or whether it's indirect addiction, which I define as like depression and suicide.
idea.
Um, why do you think there's such a correlation? Is because there's just a lot of things like pain and issues that these guys can't deal with, and that oftentimes they just can't get past and they just can't get through that? Or do you think it's something else?
I think yes. I think that I mean you're talking about a circle of human beings that often feel things very big. Um, and when you bring drugs and alcohol, as we're both aware, into certain personalities that already might be pre-wired to feel things big or have addictive personalities, I think it's often a recipe for disaster. And then you add money, access, um, stress, pressure, all these things to the equation. It starts compounding and really becoming a difficult thing to escape, I imagine. You know, yeah, there's so many greats that we've lost. There's so many still struggling with it. But we're just like we're big feelers, aren't we? Like we naturally, that's kind of part of the makeup. So throw throw drugs on that.
Yeah, I think about my days of music, and my days of recording and the days of abuse, and there was more abuse during those times than not. And oftentimes they were just times of just pure cloudiness, like just
Yeah.
and they were fun and all, but I think as I look back, I would have much rather um done those things so sober. And to be honest with you, I'm actually going to Nashville next week,
Yeah.
as I mentioned to you. I'm actually going to make an amends to this person that I'm going to be having dinner with that I mentioned,
Yeah.
because we wrote music for a long time, and I got to a point where like I was very difficult to work with, and my ego was much bigger because I was the lead singer and I was doing a lot of drugs and alcohol and probably really difficult to deal with, and I ended up getting fired out of the band.
Yeah.
And so I have an amends that I'm going to be making next week, which and it's just funny how kind of all that stuff comes full circle once we actually start getting sober and dealing with our shit.
Oof, you're triggering me now. Now I'm adding names to the list as you speak. Like, oh no. Yeah, I was in many a band that had to deal with a version of me that I certainly wouldn't be proud today to say yeah, yeah, you handled that right. You were great with those people. You were easy to deal with. But I hear you. That sounds hard and I wish you luck with that.
You know, it gets easier, man. And I think what I do now, at least, is when I get into a situation where I am challenged, and some type of character defect or feeling kind of comes out, I focus on what's the opposite of that. So if I'm really
Yeah,
pissed off, like how do I get pleasant? Or if I'm sad, how do I get happy? Or, if I'm jealous, how do I get acceptance? Right? Like those things are really hard to do, and those are skills, man, that take a
yeah, that's the
while.
beauty of the program, right? That's the stuff that I hear that keeps me around because I'm nowhere near those magic powers, which is
Yeah.
great. Having the I'm still at a place where like awareness that I'm all about awareness right now.
Mm,
That's the best I can do. The best I can do is not ever right now. The best I could do in this moment is recognize the way that I'm acting is potentially too big. The way that I'm feeling might not be right sized. That's where I'm at. And it kind of gives me the space or the moment to maybe dull what would have been my previous reactions or feelings. Um, that's still kind of the stage that I'm at. But yeah, the ability to then move deeper and be like, okay, how about do the opposite of what has never worked for you, dum dum? I'm not there yet. But
are you a big future tripper or a history tripper? Or are you kind of like an in the moment guy now? You
future for
are.
sure. Yeah.
Got a lot of.
I want to say I'm not history. Um, but that's probably not true. I'm not aware that I'm a history tripper.
Mm,
But it's got to live there, right? That's where why I got where I got. You
yeah.
know, the stuff in here. We're from a generation where I don't think talking about feelings was really the most normalized thing. We are fortunate today that it's become much more normalized. It's not a bad time. It's, I guess, the best time ever so far to get sober in
Mm.
the acceptance level and the lessened stigma of it all. But I was a master masker,
Mm.
bottling everything up. So I sit here and I say to you that I'm not a history tripper, but I'll sit down and I'll explode trauma on myself of like, something that I stuffed down forever, and that's a lot of what drew me to music was I felt big as a kid. I probably was undiagnosed ADHD.
Most of us
I
are
Yeah, I
or
didn't
were.
know what to do with the energy and how I felt different and how I was feeling and who am I supposed to talk to? Oh, no one. I'm supposed to, just troop forward. But music was a safe place to stuff it all and hide it
Yeah.
all. And whether or not it was just in, the music, the instrumental itself, or
Yeah.
whether it was lyrical and whether it was very literal or it was hidden. Like it was just a safe place to go to be like to journal. Therapy before it was therapy for me. Um, that's what music means to me. And I say that often, it's really just therapy. That's how I describe my relationship to music.
Let's talk a little bit about the new album. How long you been working on it? What's the name of it? When's it coming out?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the feel of the album. I'm gonna actually find some of the music and maybe play some things while we're talking here.
Yeah.
But why don't you,
Yeah.
yeah, tell me a little bit about the album and yeah,
Yeah.
let's start there.
The album itself, it's called When No One's Watching,
Okay.
and it's out in 2 days. It's out on February 6th.
When no
Um,
one's watching. Okay.
when no one's watching, so it's not live anywhere yet, but I did send you kind of a
Yep.
link.
And I listened to it.
Yeah. So the the album itself, I was not, I had not been making music in a couple of years.
Okay.
And I started going to AA. I was starting sobriety and kind of the journey that is sobriety. And a big part of it early on was, oh, I need music to get through this. What? I need my recovery playlist. I need an album that speaks to how I'm feeling. I'm not going to make it through this if I don't, when I'm, if I'm not putting something in my ears that's like, oh, that's me. And it's, there's a parallel there to the program, right? Like we all go in and how much of us are drawn to a speaker meeting and how many of us can kind of point to that first time that you sat in a room feeling your terminal uniqueness. No one has my problems. My problems are really fucking special. My problems are my problems. And no one has this. And you sit in a meeting with 30 other people and someone stands up there and says every single thing you've ever been through. And you're like, oh shit. Uh, it's
You're
not
like,
just me.
actually, I am not special. I'm
Special.
like
Exactly.
everybody else in this room, and yeah, I'm back to earth now. I'm
Yeah.
gonna
And
play. I'm
it,
gonna play
it,
something here.
yeah.
So it's called When No One's Watching.
Unfamiliar feelings and unknown sounds. I'm still just one step from burning it all down.
It's pretty powerful, dude. I'm just one step
Yeah.
from burning
That
it all
opening
down.
that opening line is fun. I mean, it kind of summarizes the entire album, right? Like
Yeah. I
familiar
mean,
feelings,
when I
unknown.
when I when I write music and used to write a lot more music, like I like to kind of get the hook out there early, right? I'd
Yeah,
like to actually say like this is kind of what's on my fucking mind
yeah,
and this is how I'm feeling right now and it's like what I hear, and when I listen to this, a couple of times, and I listened to the snippets of all of them, what I
yeah.
heard is like, I was in a lot of pain. There was a lot of shit that I was dealing with. I didn't know how to deal with it. Therefore, I went and did all these other things. That's kind of the message that I heard in a lot of this stuff.
Sure.
Is that a fair assumption of the music in this album?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what I could kind of distill it down to is I was early on. I was a few months in. I'm searching everywhere for the songs that would speak to my soul and move me. And there are tons of great songs. There are tons of great songs about the active addiction and pain. There are tons of great songs on the other side of recovery, but I had a really hard time finding music that very literally spoke to early recovery. Um, and that's kind of where this album, what it was born out of, was a literal description of those first few kind of months where you've been ripped apart. You see everything brand new for the very first time, and you're laid bare, and you're like, well, what the fuck now? What am I supposed like? I, I'm not in that active addiction pain. I'm not clear and peaceful. I'm stuck in this middle place, and you know that the songs are very literal, much more literal than anything I've ever written. They are kind of, I would go to AA meetings and I was too scared and insecure to speak at them.
Mm.
There were these profound topics, and I'm watching drunks and drug addicts speak so eloquently for 5 minutes at a time, and I can't eke out a word and I'd go home, the topic that was, of the night, and I would be like, okay, now I've got my guitar, I'm safe in my room. This is what I would have said. This is what I wanted to say. This is my reaction to what I heard. This
Mm.
is, and that's what I could I wish I had tracked it better, but I think I could probably point every single song on the album is directly linked to something I heard in a meeting, went home, I couldn't share about it. I wrote a song about it. I wrote a lyric about it. I wrote what I wish I would have said out loud, but was too insecure to do.
So you started the album a couple months after getting sober back in 2023. So what, like April, May, June of 2023.
Yeah.
And a lot of the kind of the meaning behind the songs came from your inability to, in early sobriety, to actually talk at these meetings. So you basically came home and got into your area of comfort, your safe
Yeah.
space, if you will, and basically wrote down. It's very similar. It's funny, right? How we all, um what we do with our sobriety, and kind of how do we take that superhero, how do we take, not superhero, how do we take some of these qualities that are really super powerful and actually put them to good use, right? Like
Yeah.
Jason, who is our mutual friend who we love, he wrote this book called In Case of Emergency, Break Childhood. He got sober. His sponsor said, write down what was what was unmanageable, and chaos and everything else. And it just became this fucking memoir that just is now, like, you know, helping a lot of folks.
Yeah.
You started writing music. I started a podcast. It's
Yeah.
amazing kind of how we can kind of I guess my point is there's no one way of doing this.
No.
But I think the lesson here is that you shouldn't ever try and keep it inside, because it's going to make you sick. It's much better to talk about it and be open about it, and what's the word? Um I can't even think about it. Just
Yeah.
making yourself feel vulnerable.
Totally. And we're addicts, right? Usually when we put our minds to something, we do it and we do it pretty well and we do it at a high level. That could be good things and bad things. It could be it could be drugs and alcohol. It could be a podcast. It could be a kick-ass book. Like that's yeah, a lesson that I've got two kids and that's always what I try, and that's the same way I speak about ADHD and addictive qualities. It's like, we're susceptible to these negatives, but we're also, we've got this ladder to some great things if we can harness, the powers properly. Um, but yeah, it's like the things that I couldn't say. That's basically where the album came out of,
So one of
and
one of the songs, go, sorry, go ahead, finish that statement. I apologize.
no, just that, like, that I don't know where I would have been without that stepping stone, right?
Sure.
Because it was the courage that I needed at the time. I wasn't doing service. I wasn't speaking at meetings. And like you said, you get sicker if you don't share, if you don't pay it forward.
Yeah.
So like, this is kind of my version of that. And it's funny. You hear people, they're like, wow, you make music. That's so cool. I wish, I could do that. I'm like, yeah, I wish I could just fucking speak at a meeting and sponsor someone and help, help do serve. Like we are all, the grass is always greener with anyone else. And it's just like, music comes easy to me. It's not like, that's not what's impressive. Like service and those things, those are things I get jealous
Sure.
over.
So
Uh,
this is an 8-song album. So one of the songs that I'm going to play real quick a snippet of is called In 20 Years. I have some questions regarding that.
yeah.
I thought love was something nice, so easy and precise. No need to compromise. eyes. Somewhere along the way, lost sight. Now
So tell me about
sit and wonder why.
the song title in 20 years. Is this kind of your self-reflecting on kind of what does the next 20 years look like with regards to your recovery? Is it about a story? Like, what is it about?
In 20 years, it's a little bit of an outlier on the album and topically in that it's kind of the only one where it's really specifically about my relationship with my wife,
Okay.
who I've known for over 20 years, um, and kind of reflecting on the I don't have to tell anyone in recovery how much how much things are gonna change when you get sober, and the amends that you have to do, the person that you are trying to become,
Yeah.
and how much goes along with that. I mean, the first thing that jumps to my mind, although it isn't necessarily what the song is about, but again, just kind of so much always goes back to my insecurity, but it's like, I'm about to be different than the person that you've been with for the last several years.
Oh, wow.
I hope are you gonna love this? Or are you in love? Even all the pain I caused, all the things that I've done that I regret, that I'm shameful of, that I'm changing for you, for us, like for our kids, like, but are you gonna like this new person? Are you gonna love this new person? You didn't sign up for this. She didn't sign up for this version of me. And while she came to me many times, many times in, our relationship and knew I needed help and wanted me to stop and asked me to stop, you know, I, no one stops until they're ready themselves. And I wasn't ready anytime that she asked or told me to stop. And, so in 20 years, did we change enough is about kind of like a relationship that you always hear from people like, you never really change or that people don't change. And it's like, no, people change a lot. With your in marriage, you've got to fall in love a lot of different times and you've got to stick with someone through very low lows and hopefully a lot of highs, sobriety or not. All marriages, you are going to have to hang in there, better or worse, and love, or at least like, or at least stick with that person till the next iteration of them, right? And that's the hard part. Um it's not just one person you're falling in love with. It's lots of forms of them. So in 20 years is that. In 20 years is like, did we change enough? Am I changing enough? This is me changing now. And it's also a moment when like I harp on this all the time. And I don't know how I've heard this from other people in recovery, but like I have had to learn the most basic skills in the last 3 years. Stuff that I know normal functioning human beings are like, yeah, dude, you're not always right. What, you thought you were always right? You operated life for 40 years thinking like you were always right, or that love was just easy, or that, and the themes are across this album often where I'm like, they're like things that you learn when you're a child. And I'm learning for the first time, you know?
So it's not often that I guess I am somewhat speechless during a podcast recording. Most of the time I have like some question or retort like that. The way you just answered that question, this is why I don't fucking send questions. Like, how dare you? This motherfucker sends me a note 30 minutes before the meeting or 30 minutes before doing this saying, hey, dude, you got any questions for me? No, I don't have any fucking questions for you. Because if you had those questions, would
I
you have
like
answered?
control.
But would you have answered it the way you
No.
just answered it? No. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of this whole thing, because I just asked you a question and you answered it exactly the way that you were supposed to answer it.
Yeah.
So that was a beautiful explanation. And why I'm saying that is because my wife has had to relearn in the last year. I'm celebrating a year in a few days.
Yeah.
And I've done it before. I originally got sober in 2021, but I've had a bunch of mishaps and slip ups
Yeah.
and all sorts of shit, right? But she's had to really relearn how, this new Matt.
Yeah.
Um and she also realizes that, no matter how many times she said, "Hey, you need to stop, you need to chill, like don't do this shit." Nothing is going to stop until the person actually says, "I'm done," and surrender. Step 1, right? Like that's it. And I think what you're doing and the way that you are, paying it forward, it's such a beautiful message to be able to say, I'm making a living amends every single day that I'm on this fucking earth. And
Yeah.
I'm doing things the best that I can. Am I going to be perfect? Fuck no. But am I going to actually do this the best I can? I want to be the best that I can for her.
Yeah.
And like, that's so beautiful, man. Like, I'm so glad I asked you the question, and I'm so glad that you answered it.
No, thanks for
Um,
asking. Yeah, it's a
yeah,
tough about. It's so funny. There are very few people who have heard this album. Maybe 3 or 4 friends, a couple people who have worked on it. You, my wife,
yeah,
and my 2 children, who I because I recorded most of it at home in my room.
yeah.
Um, they hear it all the time. And the first time, the first time I played that song, I just remember my 5-year-old coming in, and he was so mad. And he's the sweetest, happiest kid in the world. And he just
Mm.
came in. He's like, Daddy. He's like, that is a sad song about mommy. And he was like inconsolable.
It's so cute.
And I was like, buddy, no, I have to, like, it's such a beautiful song. This is a real song about love, and how it's bigger than just, it's not meant as just an I love you song. It's meant as a realistic portrayal of moving people, and now he loves the song. And he asked me, he's so cute. He asked me last night, he was like, when is the album out? He's like, is in 20 years, that's a happy song. Is that going to be on it?
Oh man, that's
And he
so
got, you
cool.
have kids now, and it's great.
Oh my
Um,
god. Let's
yeah,
let's go to a couple other songs since we're on a roll here. There's a song
yeah,
called "This Time It's Time." I assume this has something to do with like this time I'm going to stay sober. This time, let me play a little snippet here.
oh yeah,
Whatever happened to those innocent eyes? Boyish smile, so warm and full of life.
Dude, I love the double vocals or triple vocals kind of going over itself. Like I loved actually doing that when I recorded,
yeah,
where we would like do 3 or 4 tracks over each one to create
yeah,
kind of that stereo-ish type of thing, and then we did variants with harmonies and all sorts of shit. I
totally.
love that effect. That's really cool how you did that.
My voice often sounds good with like a double or a triple on it. And then you've got my collaborator, Jordan Lee. He sings beautiful, haunting harmonies on a lot of the stuff I put out. And he's a killer. And it blends well together. Yeah, this song is like,
This
you
time
know,
it's time, yeah?
this time it's time. And I don't know if I knew it at the time, but when you put an album like this out, especially just as a dad, and you're like, how much do I have to censor? How much do it's so different pre kids and post kids making music, where you're like,
Absolutely
I
nothing. You gotta do it. You just gotta put it out the way you're supposed to put it out.
no, but in the back of my mind as a dad first, it's like
Sure.
I have to make sure the things that they're going to hear when I'm gone are things that could only help them and not set them back. And this song, looking back, although it wasn't written that way, it was a little bit like an ode to, like, the way that I want them to hear
Mm.
what my journey was. It's probably the most hopeful on the album, I think. It's got these lyrics. It's not favorite song on the album, but it is my favorite lyrics in that it's got this bit. The first pre-chorus says, I've got tunnel vision and razor sharp words on a mission, too loud to be heard, too much passion, fire in my eyes, attack a loved one, won't even think twice.
Oh wow.
Too obsessive, a scared little boy, levels rising, unfillable void. So I fill it the only way I know how. It's not working. I must break through. This time it's time. That's the first
Wow.
pre-chorus. And then it has this second, you know, this development of it where it says, so I'll turn my tunnel vision to laser sharp love,
Wow.
start to listen. It's okay to feel hurt. Keep my passion, stare in your eyes, teach a loved one the things that I like, hold you closer. It's okay to be scared. Levels rising. Just try to be aware. You're enough the way you are now. Just be patient. You'll make it through. This time it's time.
Wow.
So, so it's basically, I don't know if I'm singing to myself. I don't know if I'm singing to myself at the moment. I know I need to get sober. I don't know if I'm singing to myself as a kid, but right now it feels like I'm singing to my kids if they're ever faced with a moment where they're like, shit.
Yeah, one of the things it's beautiful. I mean, one of the things that we do in therapy that I've done in therapy, I would say we like that I did in therapy is oftentimes, especially when it comes to like depression therapy and dealing with your shit, is actually talking to your young self, your child self, right?
Yeah,
And speaking to kind of like, hey, it's okay. Like I had a rough childhood, dude. Like
yeah,
not at home, but I had a lot, I had a lot of like friend issues. I was bullied. I had a lot of loneliness. I had a lot of issues. And I never really dealt with it until, this over this last year. I did a lot of therapy, did a lot of conversations, a lot of meetings, talked to my sponsor, did a lot of step work around it. Like, um, and you know, it takes a lot to speak to your younger self to say like let go.
yeah,
Like it's okay. Like the shit happened, but it's
yeah.
like it's okay to let go, right? And that's a powerful thing if you can. I actually think that maybe you were talking to your young self, even though maybe your kids are going to get some incredible value out of this in the future.
Yeah. I think it's probably a little bit of both. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm talking to some version of me, right? I'm calling out my character defects. Too obsessive, unfillable void, I'm literally laser sharp words, quick tongue. Like, I'm speaking to myself either maybe 4 years ago, maybe as a kid, but through the lens of like, this doesn't always have to be
I
that
mean,
way.
for what it's worth, I mean, this album is kind of a little bit of a reflection of your 12 steps to a certain degree. If you think about it, a lot of the things that are called out in here cover your character defects, cover a lot of your past resentments, cover,
Yeah.
where you made mistakes.
Yeah.
Um, you do a lot of step 4 stuff in the lyrics. You do a lot
Yeah.
of step 10 work in the lyrics where you're frankly apologizing to a certain degree to your wife about all the shit that you fucking put her through in the past, and that,
Yeah.
that's not the person that Ross is today. Like,
Yeah.
I think you need to give yourself a little bit of credit
Oh,
and
I'm
a
not
little
good
bit of
at
a
it.
pat and a little bit of a pat on the back to recognize that you actually did a lot of work to put this thing together. It's not just the creative aspect of this. It's actually the
Yeah.
feelings that you actually came out with
Yeah.
and spoke about and sung about and reflected on.
Yeah. And thank you so much for saying that. I think that, you know, for sure. I am very proud of the message. I'm proud that I was able to put it all into words and song. I enjoy that. I love that. I recognize how therapeutic and helpful it's been for my recovery and for my process.
Yeah.
Um, but but also, you know, there's something about doing it a little too comfortable, a little bit on my own terms, and not fully into the best of my ability. I'm just never gonna pat myself on the back enough. You know, it's just not. It's just
Well,
not
give
it.
yourself a little bit of fucking credit, dude, because this is good. So,
That
and
I'm
so
learning to give myself some slack.
yeah, so we covered When No One's Watching. We did In 20 Years. There's a song called Aluminum Bins.
Yeah.
This Time It's Time, which we just talked about. Let's maybe cover one more. I'm going to give you a choice: Last Cigarette or Tomorrow. Which one?
Tomorrow's funny, man. Tomorrow was like this little tiny voice memo I did at the end. I wasn't even gonna include it on the album. I had 2 or 3 other songs that I was gonna include in its stead, and I just kind of did a rough recording of it. And
All
I
right,
love it. I
let's
love it
hear
so much. I love
it.
it. Yeah. Yeah, jump to the middle of it.
Take another day down, make another wish. How I'll know tomorrow. Stop trying to find a way out. Devil's in your playground.
Yeah.
I'll go tomorrow. Keep on counting days now, even when the world's all upside down. Hoping for tomorrow. Underneath these strange clouds, gotta let the change play out. And take a look tomorrow.
Dude, have you ever heard of the band Rogue Wave?
No. Rogue
Dude,
Wave.
check them out. So, guy I grew up with, his name's Zach. He's the lead singer. Band's called
Yeah.
Rogue Wave. They're pretty famous, actually.
All right.
They put out a ton of music. You
I love
kind
it.
of remind me of them a little bit. You actually will love them. I'm a big fan of Rogue. Anyways, so go take a look at that. But man, that's so cool. I like the Hammond in the background. Did you actually have a Hammond, or did you?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
did. So you did it actually. Did you have a Hammond? Or?
Yeah, not me playing it, but yeah, and you got little trumpets back
Oh,
there.
so good.
It's got a beautiful kind of just like rising peak there. And it just felt like the perfect oversimplification of the program, of my journey, of the day counter in me when I was writing it. And it's just like, yo, tomorrow. Like
Amazing.
whatever you're feeling, man, just let's do this tomorrow. You
Okay,
know?
so let's talk a little logistics here. So it's going to be by the time this comes out,
Yes.
this should be released, right? And so what, a
Yes.
couple of weeks away?
This is 2 days away, February
Okay,
6th.
2
Friday, yeah.
days. Okay, so this will definitely be out by the time the podcast comes out. How do you plan on promoting it? Where are you gonna do? Are you gonna play some shows? Have you lined up stuff? Tell me a little bit about that as
That
we look to wrap up.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's all I'm not sure yet. Um, how I'm gonna promote it is I'm just using social media the way we use social media these days. It's pretty active on on TikTok, which has been a whole different mind game for me, right? Like
Yeah, I would
first 3
imagine.
years have been anonymous. I've been anonymous with my sobriety. And even putting out an
Not
album
anymore.
not anymore. Now I'm on, the sober bear, and I'm putting out an album, and I'm on TikTok with my face. Um, but it's I want it to be a place where people are often searching for help. That's really what this is, right? I'm not trying to be a number one song on the radio. I'm not trying to make this my full-time career. I'm not trying to tour. I want a piece of music. I want a thing out there. That's the thing that I was looking for when I was in my first 6 months. I want a thing that someone's sitting around contemplating if getting sober was right for them or is right for them. And they search, they go on TikTok, they go on Instagram, they go on Reels, and they're like mental health, depression, well, whatever they're pulling up. And this comes up and they hear something and it touches them in a way that so many songs touch other people in other ways. I just want it to be a thing that that's out there and exists. And if it finds the right people, like,
I'm
awesome.
sure, first of all, I'm sure it's going to find the right people because it's fucking amazing.
Thanks.
And I think, you know, it'd be really cool is if we should take Mayo's book and turn it into a movie. And then your soundtrack should be the soundtrack to the movie. And then I'll narrate the fucking thing. And it'll just be this fucking killer collaboration. Let's start working on that. Yeah. What do you say?
And I'm in. Yeah.
I'm in. All right. Dude, I am so glad that you stopped by, man. I am so glad that you were a part of this. This turned out, to be honest with you, I had no expectations of how this would go. And that actually leaves room for things to like really go like amazing. And
This was great.
I just had
to say this all out loud, man. Like I'm so grateful for you having me.
well, I'm grateful that, you know, we got to spend some time together and you were able to walk through the album and, you know, tell your story. It's so powerful. And I can't wait to see, you know, how this thing does once it gets out into the ether and everybody starts listening to it. It's really, really, really special. And I'm so grateful that I got to be an early participant in the listening of this. And thank you for being here, man. Thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate it very much.
We're going to go ahead and wrap up. So again, Ross, thanks for being here, buddy. And the name of the band is Civil Brother. His album comes out on February 6th, so be on the lookout for it. I think it'll be on Spotify. I don't have TikTok on my phone, so I won't see on TikTok.
That's healthy. That's a good move. Yeah.
But I think maybe Instagram will be there, maybe. Yeah.
Yep. It's Spotify, Apple Music, all the streaming platforms, wherever you listen to music, you'll be able to plug in Civil Brother when no one's watching.
And do me a favor, man. Like if you do end up touring, like please let me know. Like I would
100%.
love to follow kind of how it goes and everything else.
I will.
All right, everybody. So my name is Matt. I am the Sober Cold Bear, as you know. Just to kind of go back through, you know, this is not a place to go if you want to get sober. There are ways to do that. But it really starts with asking for help. And you know, there's a lot of people out there that love you and want you to be okay. And but it starts with saying I'm not. And go listen to the album because it's fucking awesome. And we're gonna go ahead and sign off. Thanks everybody. And Ross, we'll take care. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks.
See you, brother.
Unfamiliar feelings and unknown sounds. I'm still just one step from burning it